Hey, what's up? This is Shanti. V for the win. Back, y'all, with another episode, preseason edition, as we dive into the NFL season. On tap, it all gets underway in about 2 weeks, as Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs kick off the season. You know, the NFL got it right by always having a marquee matchup to start the season. You know, whoever wins the Super Bowl, whatever team. You know, we used to seeing Tom Brady in this spot, but now we've been accustomed to seeing Patrick Mahomes, you know, in the Kansas City Chiefs as they open the season, raise another banner, ring ceremony, all the pomp and circumstance, and have the Lions come to town to start the season. But tonight's focus is the North Division, but it's the AFC North. Man, this division right here, I think it's probably the hardest to judge, man. You know what I mean? Just based off of last season. You know, so many teams think they could. Everybody has high hopes at the beginning of the season. No matter how you finished last year, unless, you know, you just a team that was a bottom feeder and just know you're rebuilding. But not the case for the AFC North, man. When you get to it, last year, just going off of last year, you know, the Cincinnati Bengals was 12-4, won the division. You know, the Ravens finished with 10 wins in second place. Steelers 9-8. Browns bringing up the rear 7-10. The most intriguing thing about this division is the records from last year. All four teams were 3-3 in division. It was crazy. I don't think I've ever seen that before, where every team had the same record, division-wise. So that tells me it's wide open, man. You know what I'm saying? Nobody really ran away with it, even though the Bengals right now are maybe they are the favorite per Vegas. You know, they're plus 150 right now to win the division. Over and under is 10.5 wins for the season. Joe Burrow, health predicates on that, man. Joe Burrow being healthy is absolutely a must for the Cincinnati Bengals team if they want to, you know, repeat as, you know, North champions. It's crazy, man, how this division has become wide open to me. You know what I mean? Even though everybody know I love Joe Cool, man. Joe Burrow is one of the top 3-4 quarterbacks in the league. You know, AFC is going to be real interesting now. You know, you got Mahomes, you got Josh Allen. You know, you got Joe Burrow, who's hurt. You know, you got DeShaun Watson. Now you got Lamar Jackson. You know, you got Justin Herbert. You got Aaron Rodgers. AFC's loaded, man, with quarterbacks that could carry a team. And I think in this division, you got three of the quarterbacks can carry their team, man. You know, with the exception of Kenny Pickett. You know what I'm saying? You know, Cincinnati coming in, you know, Vegas odds, like I said, plus 150, 10.5, over and under on wins. Baltimore, plus 235, 10.5 wins as well. So it could go either way. Cleveland is my pick. I'm just going on a limb. I'm going to pick Cleveland. I think Cleveland's going to win this division. Plus 380. 9.5 wins, you know, 9.5. So that they're not that much behind Cincinnati and Baltimore. I'm gonna tell you why I'm picking Cleveland here in a minute. And then Pittsburgh bringing up the rear, plus 450 at 8.5 wins. They're set at. You know, from the first to the fourth place team, 2 games separates who's gonna win and who's not. Listen, I think if Joe Burrow's healthy, and which it's up in the air when he's actually going to come back. Hopefully he doesn't be out too long. You know what I'm saying? It might be a situation he might even play week 1. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? Right now, it's a situation where he could miss a couple weeks. It could determine the season. It could determine if they win the division or not. Listen, if Joe Burrow plays, my pick changes. I think Cincinnati will win this division. I think Joe Burrow's that good. You know, he could carry this team. He's done it the last couple of years with a mediocre offensive line. You know, he's always had a good running game. You know what I mean? Joe Mixon, you know, Giovanni Bernard in the past, you know, Chris Evans. You know, they've always had decent running backs. Offensive line, not so much. You know what I'm saying? They tried to bolster it up this year. So we'll see. You know what I mean? The defense has got to hold their water as well. I think whoever plays, the best defense in this division actually is going to win this division. Cincinnati's right there. I mean, defensively, they need to get just healthy. I think that's the only thing with Cincinnati's going to hold back. They always had decent secondary. The linebacking core, they got good linebackers. They can get to the quarterback. I've always liked Hendrickson. He stays. It seems like at the opposing team's quarterback. So I like Cincinnati. I do, but I think coming up, the Ravens. If you want to, talk about the Ravens before we get to Cleveland, listen, I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. Lamar Jackson had every right, to sit out, I believe, because he's the heart and soul of that team, man. You know what I mean? This is not the same Baltimore Ravens. They are still good defensively, at least last year. Points per game, points against. They were third in the NFL. They're third best in the NFL, so they're still there defensively. I don't know, man. I don't know if they're as dominant as they used to be, as we used to accustomed seeing Baltimore Ravens. They're still a damn good football team, though. Like I said, Lamar Jackson still must-see TV every time he touches the field, man. I think that now Lamar Jackson, he's won MVP. Everybody knows Lamar Jackson can play ball, man. There's no doubt about it. Very talented. Now I think he's won the personal accolades, got the contract. Now I think Lamar Jackson's got to lead this team, man. You know what I'm saying? It's all about going to Super Bowl. He's got to get to a Super Bowl, to me, at some point. You know what I'm saying? Because he can do everything else. I think the only thing that's left for him is to show that he can make it to a Super Bowl. Something that Josh Allen hasn't done yet. A couple of Justin Herbert hasn't done it yet, even though Justin Herbert just starting out. I mean, he's the elder statesman. When you look at, guys that's been doing it for 4 or 5 years now, he's in that category, you know what I'm saying, where it's time, you know what I'm saying? And I think that the Ravens are good enough defensively where they could win this division and steal it and get to the playoffs and make some noise, you know what I'm saying? His health predicates on it as well. Lamar Jackson has to stay healthy for Baltimore to do anything. They got Odell Beckham Jr., which I like. It was a very good pickup. Listen, Odell Beckham, say what you want about him, but dude can ball, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think losing Hollywood Brown and gaining Odell Beckham Jr., I think it's an upgrade at the position, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? It's just, which Odell you going to get? You're going to get the Odell that's ready to play, that was ready to play ball in the Super Bowl and was probably on his way to winning an MVP when he played? Or you're going to get the Odell Beckham that just checks out, you know what I'm saying, and don't want to be there, and if he's not getting the ball or whatever, how star receivers are. You got to get Odell Beckham the ball often and early, I think, in this offense, and I think that that's what they should do. You know what I'm saying? He can't pick down, don't lose his style of play, meaning Lamar Jackson, run first. I do think get Odell Beckham the ball early in the season. I think everybody will be happy. And I think Baltimore will find himself in a good place at the end of the season. Cleveland, listen, like I said last year, all 4 of these teams went 3-3 in division. It was weird how they all had the same record. Cleveland's interesting, though. They finished 7-10. It was last place, bringing the rear. Quarterback situation wasn't so good. Listen, they went all. There's a reason why they went all in for DeShaun Watson. I'm in the conversation. I think DeShaun Watson can still play. I don't know why everybody's writing him off like he can't play. I mean, yeah, he's missed over a year of football. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he's not going to come in and be the MVP of the league. But I do think Deshaun Watson, I do think he's a little bit better than, what people is saying he is. Like, he's washed up, like he can't play. It's not a situation where he's been on the couch. You know what I'm saying? He's been working out. He's been, running plays. He should be super familiar with the playbook, with Kevin Stefanski, what he wants, with his quarterback. So I don't think that that's going to be a situation where he forgot how to play football. I'm just going off strictly off this division, I think that Cleveland can win the division, and it's not far fetched. I mean, they were only a couple games out of the mix last year. You know what I'm saying? And now they have a legit quarterback. They keep a good running game with Nick Chubb. The defense, their offensive line's decent offensive line. They can raise some hell defensively. Again, with Myles Garrett, everybody knows him. How much of a factor he could be. To have Amari Cooper, one of the best route runners in the NFL, at his disposal as well. David Njoku, one of the top tight ends in the league. I think he doesn't get enough credit, but I think now that you do have DeShaun Watson, I think he's going to showcase his talent, and I think Njoku's going to bust on the scene. Look for him to have a good season, breakout season, I believe. It's just crazy how much talent this team has. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the quarterback situation is what they were missing. They get Saiki Ika on the go on the inside. They did draft DeJuan Jones. Well, Ika is nose tackle on that defensive line, which it was something that they did need, and they did address that, and I like that. DeJuan Jones, a massive dude on that offensive line. I don't know if he may start. If he does, that could be, that could spell good things to come, for this offense. They've drafted well. They just have a lot of depth. You know what I'm saying? It just seems like this team's ready to take the next step, man. You know what I'm saying? Diamond People-Jones at receiver. He's one of the top guys in the league. That's another guy that's ready to break out, I believe. Zadarius Smith, they signed him, on the defensive line. I really like what this team did, man. You know what I'm saying? They've showed they got a little bit of talent, even behind DeShaun Watson, with Dorian Thompson Robinson at quarterback. I think that Dalvin Tomlinson on the defensive line. They still got Denzel Ward. They still got. This team is loaded. You know what I'm saying? Jedrick Wills Jr. On the offensive line. They drafted Luke Weipler, another guy that I like from Ohio State, on that offensive line, can play center and guard. So I like Cleveland. I think that they won 7 games. Their over and under for them this year is 9.5 for a reason. And Cincinnati, Baltimore, supposedly one of those teams gonna win this division at 10.5. But hey, Cleveland's right there, and I think that's my pick, man. Only because I just don't think that nothing much separate these teams. Now, I think Joe Burrow could be the difference. I think Joe Burrow's the best quarterback in this division, followed by Lamar, followed by DeShaun Watson. Kenny Pickett bringing up the rear. For Pittsburgh, I'm gonna let you know how I feel about them in a minute here. But Cleveland is just not that I think they're that great of a team. I just think that this division, just like last year, is gonna be a dogfight. You know what I'm saying? Whoever wins this division might only win 9 games. You know what I'm saying? They over and under is 10.5, so 11 tops is what Vegas is saying. So I think 9, definitely 10 wins, probably wins this division. You know what I'm saying? It's not far fetched, to see Cleveland maybe do something in this division. You know what I mean? It's just a hunch, because I believe that they're a decent squad, man. So we'll see how it goes with them. Moving forward. Pittsburgh Steelers. Listen, plus 450, 8.5 wins, bringing up the rear this year so far per Vegas. Last year, just like the other 3 teams, were 3-3 in this division. They a little bit of experiment last year. Kenny Pickett, kind of rough, to start. And it's going to happen like that with a rookie quarterback. You know what I'm saying? But the best thing you could do is leave him out there. You know what I'm saying? If you're not in contention and your team's not going to win the Super Bowl or anything like that, the best thing you could do as an organization is leave your quarterback in there, man. You know what I'm saying? And let him, get some game reps, get some time in there where it matters, but it kind of don't matter. But I think, and that's what they did with Kenny Pickett last year. Kenny Pickett I think he's a decent quarterback. I really do. I think that this year, it's really going to come out where it's going to show he's got some talent, man. You know what I mean? I don't think he's a guy that you can look at and just say, he's not any good. And the reason why he's going to be better because he's got George Pickens, and George Pickens is going to have another guy's going to have a breakout season, man. 6'3", 200 pounds, 22 years old, just all world, man. He's got just freakish athletic ability. I'm going to say it here in Detroit. I mean, it sort of reminds me of Calvin Johnson a little bit, man. You know what I'm saying? Where he's got the long arms, got the long stride. Maybe not as physical and big as Calvin Johnson, but George Pickens, man, can play. I mean, I'm not saying he's Calvin, which he's not, but he's just sort of reminds me of him a little bit, because he's big and physical guy. Maybe not as tall as Calvin, but George Pickens is a guy you got to watch out for a breakout, and I think it's going to make Kenny Pickett is going to make his job a lot easier with George Pickens at receiver. Pat Freiermuth has made some plays. They did sign Allen Robinson at receiver, who's a veteran. A guy can get open, 29 years old. He can lead that receiver room. Deontay Johnson is another guy, receiver. Has been there a couple years now, starting to make some plays. Najee Harris is really the guy I like coming out of college. I like all Bama running backs. And Najee Harris was interesting. First year he came on the scene, and it's sort of like, okay, he's gonna bust on the scene and just be the next guy. Everybody's looking for the next, his alumni mate, Derrick Henry. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of didn't go the way, last year. It was sort of like, what the heck happened to Najee Harris? Maybe wasn't the healthiest. I don't know the situation all the way as far as his health goes, but I think this the year, man. I think this the year we see with Najee Harris, what he's all about. I think the offensive line's better. They did draft Broderick Jones from Georgia. I do like that pick because they need some help on that offensive line. They already got Mason Cole and some players, that's at some point will show that their veteran leadership on this team, which I think that's what they need. You know what I mean? I think Kenny Pickett's way better than Mitch Trubisky, if you ask me. And that's how they're gonna win. Mason Rudolph is a guy I feel sorry for because Mason Rudolph seems like a guy who could play. You know what I'm saying? But it just seems like he always gets picked over, overlooked, and the next guy always just winds up starting over him. So he's still on the roster, but like I said, I think if Kenny Pickett, let's just say if he gets hurt or something like that, I think Mason Rudolph is decent. I mean, he's a guy that you could win a couple games with and stay afloat until Kenny Pickett comes back if he gets hurt or something like that. So, when you look at this team, well coached. Listen, Mike Tomlin is one of my favorite coaches, man. Mike Tomlin is that deal, man. You know what I mean? At head coach. You know what I'm saying? Never had a losing season. I think it's something ridiculous like that. I mean, you can't be – that's not luck. That's not, somebody's giving you anything. Mike Tomlin not have a losing season in the NFL as a coach, man, that's just it's a story. I mean, it's nothing you could say. It just tells you all you need to know about him and his ability to be able to keep his team motivated, how much the team respects him. I respect it. I like Mike Tomlin. I think he's a hell of a head coach. And the Steelers, I mean, I don't know if they can win this division, though, because I think the other three quarterbacks are better than theirs, and I believe you got to have a quarterback in the NFL to win, man. And I think the Steelers may have a decent quarterback. I think that Kenny Pickett's decent, but I don't know, man, if he can lead this team, to a division title. And it's, maybe you can say second season if you want. You could say second season as being a NFL quarterback, fully given the keys to this offense. I don't know, man. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Steelers are maybe 6 or 7 win team this year. This might be the year that Tomlin don't have a winning season. I think out of all the 3 out of 4 teams, if I had to handicap it, again, this is pending Joe Burrow is going to be hurt and maybe not start the season 100% or may not even play. So I'm going to say I'm going with the Browns, man. I think the Browns can win 11 games and win this division. You know what I'm saying? With the Ravens right there, with the Bengals right there at 10 wins, and the Steelers, bringing up the rear, maybe 7 or 8 wins this year. So that's how I see it. You know what I'm saying? If Joe Burrow plays, Bengals gonna win this division. That's how I believe. If he doesn't, I don't want Raven fans to be like I'm discounting, I'm just throwing their team away, but it's just I don't believe that the Ravens are like the Ravens they were of old to me. You know what I'm saying? They have to prove it. I mean, hey, I'll be the first one to say I was wrong, but I don't know if the Ravens are good enough defensively still. Marlon Humphrey's hurt right now. They got some pieces, but I don't know if they can hold. I think the Bengals, the Ravens, like I said, they were third last year and points against. We'll see. We'll see if it holds up this year. You know what I'm saying? But I think this division, whatever defense shows up, it's going to play the best. I think that's who's going to win the division. I think who's ever the better quarterback out of the 4 quarterbacks is going to win this division. That is point blank period. Point blank period. I think you can say that with every division in the NFL. Whoever quarterback plays the best is going to win it. So this V for the win. I like the Browns. I like the Bengals. And I like the Ravens. But ultimately, I think the Browns, I'm giving DeShaun Watson a little payback. Could win comeback player of the year if they win this division. Could shift a lot of power in the AFC if Cleveland can come out on top. What about Cincinnati? Can Cincinnati get back to Super Bowl form and turn this team back into a Super Bowl contender? And can Lamar Jackson lead this team? He's got all the individual accolades. He's got the MVP. He's got the contract. He's got the cachet already. He's got all talent in the world. But Lamar Jackson got to go to Super Bowl, man. He's got to lead this team to another level now. He's the leader. This V for the win. Peace.